Today we're going to be checking out this monster amplifier from Starke Sound. This is the Starke Sound A3. And a shout out to Starke for sending this over for me to review. This is one of the bigger amps that I've had. This weighs as much as my Macintosh amplifiers. Weight-wise, it weighs 89.5 pounds, so be sure you have someone to help you out if you're going to move this, or unless you're really muscular and strong like me, you can pick it up yourself. Up front here, we have the power button, and then we have this little green bar here that will light up once it is powered on. And this is really thick front aluminum front fascia as well. Up top, you can see that this has the A3 logo emblazoned on the casing itself, as well as the Starke Sound logo as well. All right, so around back, we have the trigger switch, which is on and off. You can see we've got the in and outs there. We have the 24K gold-plated XLR connections. There are some really heavy-duty speaker binding posts as well. Maybe the beefiest ones that I think that I've ever seen so far in an amplifier. We have a locking power connection for the power cord. And there is a center channel on-off switch. So if you're going to use this in your home theater to power your center channel, you could turn it on. If you're not going to do that, you could turn it off and use only the amplifier for 2-channel duties only, which will give it a little extra power. And this is rated for 620 watts into 4 ohms. However, the first 50 watts will operate in Class A for that warm Class A sound. Anything over that, that's when the amplifier will kick into 620 watts into that 4 ohms. Now, one thing that makes this really heavy is the giant power transformer inside of it, as well as the custom heatsink, which is made of, I believe, copper and aluminum, which makes this amplifier fanless. So if you have this in your main listening room or your home theater, there is going to be no fan noise to be blowing and ruining your low noise floor. Anyways, let's go ahead and get this thing set up in the theater. All right, so as far as setup, I've got the Starke Sound hooked up to my Trinov Altitude processor, powering only my front 3 speakers because it's only a 3-channel amplifier. And I did turn off the crossovers, so I am running the speakers at full range. So that way they're getting as dynamic as it possibly can and as much bass as the speakers can possibly handle. And I also turned off the subwoofers as well, so it's only playing the LCRs with no help from any of the subwoofers. And the first demo that we popped on was, which one, Interstellar or Tron Ares?
Interstellar.
The controls won't work here. We're passing through the bulk, space beyond our 3 dimensions. All you can do is record and observe.
So what'd you think? It sounded pretty good, right?
Sounded great. I mean, for what it is, in fact, you're running LRC and not the subs.
Yeah, I mean, the speakers, they naturally roll off around 70, 80 hertz. So, you know, we got some really good mid-range out of it.
Oh, yeah.
And the vocal clarity from what we can hear over what bass would have been there was good.
Right. I mean, there's a lot going on in that scene. And there's a lot of Matthew McConaughey's talking to TARS.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's just a lot going on in terms of your action. You've got a lot of sound in the ship, and then you've got you know, the vocals.
Yeah, like the creaking of the ship and all that stuff. It sounds just as good as my Trinov Amplitude 8M. So, I mean, just for as limited response as we can get from these speakers, sounded just as good as my normal amplifiers.
And that's saying something, because those Trinovs are beasts.
The next demo we popped in was Tron Ares, 2025's best bass movie of the year. The recognizers flying down the street.
That was one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie at the theater. And, you know, great action, fantastic graphics.
Yeah.
But the sound is phenomenal in that scene.
The 9 Inch Nails soundtrack rocks in this movie.
Absolutely.
And for what little bass we got from these speakers, as good as they can possibly sound.
And
without subwoofers.
There's so much driving those. There's action everywhere.
Now, to test out the center channel, we popped in Palpatine's voice from The Rise of Skywalker and also Darkseid from Zack Snyder's Justice League.
You will rule all the galaxy as the new emperor. But beware, She is not who you think she is.
Who is she? If it is redemption you seek, find the third box, synchronize the unity, and when this world is scorched, I will come for my great prize. You will come to Earth.
So as expected, if you do not have a capable center channel speaker that's enough to reproduce good lower quality bass, you're gonna be missing out, because running these at a lower crossover or even full range if you have big enough speakers, Palpatine's voice really has nice, chesty gravitas to it. It really projects into the room, as well as Darkside.
Darkside just has one of the voices you just immediately know who it is.
Yeah.
And it'll scare the crap out of you.
It's very James Earl Jones-ish.
Yes, yes.
So if you do have a capable center channel out there, I mean, this amplifier just knocks it out of the park. But we've only got 3 channels in here. It's bass limited. So in order to really judge the sound quality of the amplifier, we plugged it into the speakers for my 2-channel setup, which we're using the Perlisten R5T Towers, very neutral sounding speaker. And we did a little comparison using the inbuilt amplifier in the Lingdorf TD-AI 3400.
Right.
So comparing it, we did the internal amplifiers to that integrated amplifier. And then we also A/B'd back and forth using that as just the preamp. First song that we popped in was Sympathy for the Devil.
Rolling Stones,
Yeah.
our go-to litmus test for basically if we can overdrive something or not. And as always, Keith's guitar kicks in, and that tells a story right there. You know, if it's got enough power, if the speakers can handle it, it sounds great. If it doesn't, then you know you want to put like your fingers in your ears.
Yeah, and you know, the first time we played the song, it was at kind of like a normal listening level. I'd say at a moderate listening level for normal humans. And going back and forth, they kind of sounded almost exactly the same.
Right.
But we went back again, we turned it up to like concert levels, to where humans, it's on the edge of just really being uncomfortably loud.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, sometimes you want to just get in your
Yeah.
room and turn it up and, you know, have a good time, dance around, or just listen to loud music.
Yeah, because I mean, at this point in time, I mean, even cheap amplifiers, even the $400 WIMP amp, sounded pretty close to the Lingdorf.
It did.
And the only biggest differentiator was when we started turning things up. And then that's when the external amplifier, the Starke, just kind of took over. I mean, the louder that we went, the less compressed sounding. I felt like the louder that we turned up the Lingdorf, the soundstage kind of just shrank smaller and smaller. And listening to the instrumental separation in the soundstage, I felt that the louder we turned it up, the Starke sound just kind of kept its composure. Whereas everything started getting a little bit more jumbled with the
Lingdorf.
With the Lingdorf, yeah. Not that it's
It wasn't horrible,
yeah,
but we were testing the limits at that point of what that thing could do, because we turned it up quite a bit, and it got to the point where you could hear it immediately when Keith's guitar kicked in that solo, because it wasn't clipping, but it was close to clipping, and it was very screechy, because like you said before, when you start pushing something beyond its limits, it just loses cohesion.
a little bit more harsher sounding.
Harsh sounding, yeah.
Yeah, mind you, we're listening extremely loud. We would never listen this loud.
No.
Yeah.
Now we know people that just want to, turn it up, and, they'll turn it up to 11 every time, and it just doesn't serve any purpose. The best sound you're going to get is if something sounds really clear and very neutral, it can sound loud without actually being loud.
The biggest difference that we heard was with Clara Wonderwall.
Yeah.
When we started cranking it up, Clara's voice just became really edgy and really bright.
Yeah, overly bright.
And then on the Starke, it just sounded really natural.
It actually sounded better when we started turning it up with that, because it had, this is not rocket science. It's an amplifier with a lot more power than that integrated amp. And for when you're playing in the same sandbox, that's one thing, but it's like taking a moped to a drag strip.
Every time she would strum the guitar, you could hear her finger plucks. It was very clear on the Starke sound at this higher volume, whereas on the Lingdorf, they just became It just twanged a little bit too much for my ears at that level. Spacing on the soundstage, I just felt like her voice was just floating more naturally as the Phantom center, as it's imaged in the center channel, whereas, well, in the center of between both speakers, not the center channel.
Right. When I turned it up a lot, I didn't like the sound quality at all when we cranked it up on the Lindorf. And that's just of that particular recording. Yeah. Didn't lend itself to being, overdriven, basically. I think the most successful was when we listened to Cowboy Junkie's Sweet Jane. They both sounded good at normal levels. And the Lindorf actually didn't sound horrible at higher level. That was one of the ones where it was a little more successful. Yeah. But again, the amplifier sounded a lot better. Like it wanted to be turned up because it was just, this recording took place in a church in Toronto with one microphone, and they were all kind of spread around the microphone. And when you turned it up and closed your eyes, like I closed my eyes and it felt like I was sitting in the front row. It was amazing. So, and the Lindorf sounded good, but you didn't get that. Like when you turned it way up, you didn't get that. You lost a little something.
And the sibilancy of every time she said sweet just remained really pretty smooth on the Starke Sound. And then again, just a little bit more whistlier sounding on the Lindorf.
Right, a lot more, a lot more whistly.
And I think that even at the higher volumes on the Starke, the soundstage is really nice and really spacious and airy sounding the louder that we turned it up.
Yeah, the Starke did a great job. I mean, it's to me, it's a really good choice for if you want an amp to power your two-channel listening sessions. It's a good one beyond its functionality in the home theater.
With voices and all that, I mean, the vocal clarity just really remained really constant at any volume on the Starke Sound. That's why we get external amplifiers for our preamp processors, receivers, stuff like that. So if you want to put less load on your internal amplifiers, there's no denying the external amp.
Right. I mean, we can, again, we're using the integrated amp in the Lindorf just because we need something to compare it to. Mm-hmm. But it all follows that you've got a standalone amplifier that's pushing 800 watts versus something that's pushing 400 watts. It's you turn it up, one's going to sound better than the other. It's just, because one has the power to handle it.
Now at the time of this video, the Starke Sound A3 3-channel amplifier is selling for $10,350, which is no spare change. But I don't know how many people are going to buy this for strictly a 3-channel home theater setup unless you have a really big system with really big speakers that need it. There are other options that you can pick up just to power your LCRs. I mean, especially if you're crossing these over your home theater speakers at like 80 hertz, then maybe this amplifier doesn't make that much sense. It's where you're using this for, 2-channel / a home theater setup, maybe with a more emphasis on 2-channel.
Right. I mean, me personally, this is something that I'm actually looking for because I'm integrating my home theater system with my 2-channel listening.
I've been rocking this 3-channel amplifier for the good part of a year now, maybe a little bit longer. Sorry, Starke, for taking my time, but it's been so good. They've been rocking my Perlissons and my Martin Logans for, the past few months now. And this amplifier is just as good as any high-end audiophile amp that we've tried out. Cambridge Audio, Rotel, Macintosh.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you are shopping for a 2-channel / home theater amplifier, I mean, look no further. This amplifier rocks.
It'll take good care of you.
Well, anyways, guys, those are our thoughts on the Starke Sound A3 amplifier. Have you heard it? And what do you think about the sound quality? Is there another 3-channel amplifier that you guys have or are shopping for? Leave your comment down below and let us know. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we will catch you again in the next video.
Take care, everybody.